Hey everybody, Ham here. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone had a good Memorial Day. I had a fantastic weekend, honestly. Um, didn't overeat too bad. Definitely PMSing anyway, so you know that's gonna happen. But anyway, yeah, it was great. I spent it with my family and I did some training at the gym. And yeah, everything was really nice. So today's video is actually about females in the martial art community. So as you guys know, if you maybe seen some of my other videos, I have been actually, I hit my 3-year mark. 3 years practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I've also practiced Muay Thai, kickboxing, but not as long or as intensely as I've done Jiu-Jitsu, but for a steady 9 months, and then for like probably like a year total, like, but in those last 3 months probably kind of spotty training, and now I train here and there when I get the opportunity. So when I first started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I started to deal with some pretty crazy stuff that was going on in my life. I basically was suffering from like PTSD from some stuff, and I just needed a break. I just needed something. I needed something to give. I needed something to happen. I needed to make a change. You know, I wanted to learn self-defense. I wanted to learn just learn something new, be physical. Like, I haven't gone to the gym in a while. Like, you know, since I was like 16, I started, you know, taking care of myself more, like trying to go to the gym, trying to be healthy. So, like my Christmas shirt. So it was just something that was interesting me. Like, MMA was popular at the time. So like basically a lot of the guys that I was friends with, you know, kind of introduced me to it, and I was really interested. It's just something that I started to like focus on and like realize like, okay, like things that play to my aesthetic: gymnastics, yoga, wrestling, you know, any kind of like oh, and like not team sport, like an individual sport more or less. So then I stumbled upon Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I said, okay, this is something I want to try. So the school I started at, you know, had a women's self-defense class. So I kind of started in that, started slow, where it was just like, you know, a group of women, no boys, and, you know, learning, you know, some basic self-defense things, starting to learn jiu-jitsu, getting the basics, kind of like warming you up to it. And then I would also take like a fundamentals class, which would just kind of break down some moves. You'd spend the whole class kind of working on them, and there was no like physical, like we call it rolling, but no like there was no actual like sparring of any kind going on in those classes. It was just drilling. Just so not only did my camera just turn off on its own, I just tried to re-record and I never pressed record. So everything I just said, okay, whatever ghost is after me right now, you know, I get it, it's funny. So I'm trying to remember where I was at. So yeah, so when I joined, you know, so I was taking the women's class, and then I would go into the Fundamental 1 class, which was like doing drills. You weren't like doing any like active live rolling or sparring. We call it rolling, but it's like, you know, you're not actually like attacking each other. You're just learning the basics, doing the moves, and that's it. And it's not like high impact or anything crazy usually. It's like where you learn what you're actually trying to be doing. So you know, so when you're participating in a sport like this, like you really have to trust that the people you're working with, and the trust that the people are there for the right reasons, are there because they love the sport, and that they're going to respect your boundaries, respect the boundaries of the sport, and remember that everyone has to go to work tomorrow, because it's high impact, it's full contact. Aside from like wrestling, I don't know anything this full contact. You're literally like, you have people, you're laying on people, your head's between people's legs, you're scissoring, like you're like really, really close, right? It's not for everybody. But there's an art to it. Like, it's not just like you're flopping on someone, which when you first start, it's often what people are doing. You know, they're just trying to like wrestle you more or less, but it's a lot more to it than that. There's specific ways to submit someone, to move, to address a situation in a defensive way, to attack in an offensive way. Like there's specific like rules and moves and things that have to happen. So now, I don't know if this part got cut off or not, but like I would go to the women's class, and when I would go to fundamentals 1, I'd always take a female with me. I finally got the strength because, like I was saying, I went there for, I was kind of like afraid of boys. I was afraid. I was very isolated, and I didn't spend a lot of time with men, for a while. So it took me a while to kind of warm up to all of that, which is fine. And in an environment like that, it's very safe. Like honestly, like I said, martial arts, it's such a safe, friendly environment. Like whatever those people do outside of the gym, but when they're in that dojo, there's so much respect and like honor, and like basically what I'm alluding to is you really don't get that many problems. You don't get too many people who are just not doing the right thing. Most people are there for the right reasons. Most people are there for to build themselves up, and they're there to build you up. Because, specifically in jiu-jitsu, like you can't really practice without a partner. Like you could do some little like drilly kind of stuff, but like nothing major. Like you need a body, a warm, fleshy body to like work off of, right? So, being a female in this environment, right? So for instance, the school I attend, it's varied through the years, depending on the time. But at this point, in my particular, like there's 3 locations of this gym, but the gym that I'm attending on a regular basis, there's a few people that go to the other locations, sometimes come to ours. There's 2 girls that are like taking a hiatus right now. But as of now, in the dojo that I'm training in, there are 3 girls actively training, and I'm one of them, that are in the rolling classes where it's like the high impact, high contact. Maybe 4, we'll say, out of a couple hundred, or maybe out of 100, we'll say 4 are females. So do the 4%, we'll call it 5% tops. Like if all the girls were there, it'd be like maybe 5-6%, right? So as a female doing something high impact, high contact, in gi, you have a robe on, and no gi, you're in your tight spandex outfit, right? So how do you ensure your safety as a female, that no one's gonna be touching you for the wrong reasons? Well, one thing is you ask. You kind of ask around some of the other girls, and you kind of find out who's safe and who's not, because there's always going to be 1 or 2 that like maybe the girls shouldn't roll with for one reason or another. Could be because they're a little creepy, could be because they don't know how to control their strength and their speed, or they're just mean, or they're just like do stupid stuff, who knows. You kind of have to figure that out. So personally, because there are certain people, so like as a female, there's certain people like that we kind of avoid. Like you try to roll with everyone, you don't discriminate, but there are just some people who like are just gonna hurt you, or they're just on the radar for creepy. Like I don't need you groping me, I don't need you getting too close, I don't need you hitting on me when we're on the mats. It's like being at work, like you just don't do it, or in church, like I don't know, you just don't do it. So like I have reasons for not kind of partnering with certain people. Just like anything, you set your boundaries, you set the tone, you basically are teaching people how to treat you, right, with your actions. And there are many reasons why men might feel uncomfortable rolling with females, right? So I've broken it down to a handful of things that like make sense to me, which is why I never ever get mad. I feel like someone's dodging me a little bit. At this point, I've become, like, I just got my first stripe on my blue belt. Yay, so exciting. That took over a year to get 1 stripe on my belt. Like, talk about work, talk about a journey, right? So anyway, so like there are things that make me feel comfortable. There are things that make other people feel uncomfortable. So, I've compartmentalized, a list of things in my head that I know are probably reasons why some men may not, feel comfortable rolling with a female. So I never fault anyone. I never blame anyone. I never get mad. Like I just kind of move on. You kind of get a sense of it and just move on. They don't answer you. They're not, looking at you. Just find someone else, right? and then just keep a note of that. Like maybe that person's just uncomfortable and doesn't want to be rude or mean about it, right? But as a female, you know, just be safe. Like I still try to work with like the same handful of people because I know damn well, without a shadow of a doubt, they're not trying to do anything, you know, weird or treat me a certain way. And you know, some people just, they're just not used to that. They just don't know how to deal with it. And you know, you don't want to fault anyone for being uncomfortable. But also don't make yourself uncomfortable. Like if someone's like, you know, not respecting your boundaries or like not, because it's a martial art. There's a lot of like respect and discipline. And if someone's not like honoring that, then like that's a red flag in itself. Like, why are you being this way? So, you know, what I have realized though is male or female, the respect you get is pretty much the same. Like I don't feel like I stand out. Like I feel like part of the team, and that's why I like doing the gi jujitsu, because I feel like we're all a team. It's like it's a uniform, you know, and no one's left out, and everybody looks the same, and it creates this like this mindset of like camaraderie, and that like we are a team, even though we're working for ourselves, we're still a team. But also to me, it creates that like a boundary, like a physical boundary, this big thick robe over my chest and thick pants over my crotch. You know, I don't want people like, because otherwise, you know, I do the no-gi now. I can't believe I started doing it. But like I wear baggy clothes because like, girl, I got a body like a Coke bottle. Like I'm not trying to be in some tight leotards wrapped up in some guy's hoo-has. Oh my God. So honestly, like for a female in martial arts, like I think that it's safe and I feel good. And I don't think that there's much to worry about. I think that most all issues are going to be taken care of. People like the men, like they're like my brothers, you know, like they all take care of me and they all like want to talk to me, and it's not because they're trying to talk to me, it's because they respect me as a person and a human. And I've never felt that way with men before, and it really taught me to you know, respect men more, right, as a person, and just to feel included and feel like wanted in that aspect of life, like in like a man's world. And no matter what people do on the outside, where you work, what you do for your job, we all come together, and male or female or whatever you know identify as, you really makes you feel like one race, like one unit. And that's why I always suggest it for people. There's so many ways to appreciate martial arts, but I think as a female, to finally feel like you're literally equal, it's a good feeling. And to actually see these people like the way that you're treated and talked to, you know, it really, it's such a relief. It's such a beautiful feeling. So, I don't know. This video got really messed up. I don't even know if I said what I wanted to say. I will definitely make another video on this. It's not the last one, but this was just a start. All right, I love you guys. Mwah. Sorry if this didn't make sense, but give it a shot. Do martial arts. Bye.